This is going to be a longer type of video, so hopefully you guys stick around and watch the whole thing. It's going to be 40 minutes, but I hope you guys watch the whole thing. I'm going to have some fun with this one because I'm going to be grading every single Super Bowl from Super Bowl 1 to Super Bowl 58, the newest Super Bowl that just wrapped up last week. But I'm going to grade it based on entertainment value, how close the game was, if anything interesting happened in the game, and I'm also going to throw some historical value in there too. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting, of course, with Super Bowl One, which wasn't called the Super Bowl at the time. It was called the NFL AFL Championship game, and the Packers were favored going into this one because it's the NFL. They were a lot more powerful than the AFL. The AFL at that point was only around for a few years. So the Packers, they won it easily 35-10. It was close in the first half. Second half, the Chiefs didn't score at all. Len Dawson got shut out, and the Chiefs, they looked like shit. The Packers did a better job of running, passing, and defensively as well. But I'm going to give it a C mainly because of historical value. I mean, it was the first ever fucking Super Bowl. I'll give it credit there. Super Bowl II, Packers versus Raiders. The Packers are back, and the Raiders are here instead of the Chiefs. The Packers, they were favored mainly because they were the NFL. The Raiders were the AFL. They were not favored. It was pretty much like the first fucking Super Bowl. The AFL wasn't even seen on the same level as the NFL. But yeah, this game kind of proved that because the Packers won it 33-14. The Raiders pretty much stood no fucking chance. The Packers were just the better team. And yeah, it was not a good game. Herb Adderley pretty much finished it off with that pick six. I'm going to give this one a D minus. It was not a good game. Super Bowl III, Jets versus Colts. This game has a lot of historical value because it was the first time that the AFL proved that they can compete with the NFL, with the Jets winning. The Colts, they were favored by a lot. No one thought the Jets were going to win. Joe Namath guaranteed a win for the Jets. Everyone thought he was fucking nuts, but he got the win for the Jets, 16-7 against the Colts. And at the time, I think they were considered one of the best teams in NFL history. So it was a big upset. And the Jets really haven't done shit since this game. So yeah, you also have that. So I'm gonna give it a B because of the historical value of it. Super Bowl IV, we got Vikings versus Chiefs. The Vikings were favored because, the whole NFL is better than the AFL thing. And the Chiefs, they were looking for redemption because they lost the first Super Bowl. They got fucking curb stomped by the Packers. In this game, they were a lot better, and they shut down the Vikings. They had two interceptions off of Joe Cap. The Purple People Eaters defense of the Vikings couldn't do anything against the Chiefs offense, and the Chiefs won it 23-7. This game did help with the NFL AFL merger that happened in 1970. The Jets game definitely helped a lot more, but this game also did help. But it was not a good game, so I'm giving it a D. Super Bowl V, Cowboys versus Colts. The oddest part about this game isn't the fact that the Colts had 7 turnovers and they still found a way to win this game. The oddest part is that the Cowboys were wearing blue. Like, what the fuck? Why aren't they wearing white? I mean, it was 1970s and they really weren't America's team yet, but come on. Why? Like, it's just odd to see. It's just, I don't know. But it was a close game throughout, which was rare at the time, so I will give it credit there. It was probably the best Super Bowl at that point. And I'm gonna be generous with it. I'm gonna give it an A minus. I mean, it came down to a field goal, so that's pretty thrilling. Cowboys versus Dolphins in Super Bowl VI. The Cowboys, they were looking to win their first Super Bowl after losing the year before. And the Dolphins, this was before their undefeated season, so they really weren't on that level yet. And it showed in this game because they lost 24-3 to the Cowboys. It was fucking ugly. And the no-name defense didn't even show up. They allowed 252 rushing yards from the Cowboys. It was pretty fucking ugly. So I'm gonna give this one an F. There was also not a lot of big scoring plays. The longest play was a 31-yard field goal. Super Bowl VII, we have the Dolphins in their undefeated season taking on the Washington Redskins. So this game looked like it was going to be a shutout. It looked like the Dolphins were going to win it 17-0. But then the greatest play ever happened. The Dolphins, their field goal gets blocked. The kicker, Gero Upremian, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. He had the biggest. It was the fucking greatest fuck up play ever. He fumbled. He gave the ball to the Redskins, and they returned it for a touchdown, make it close to make it 14-7. But yeah, the Redskins couldn't do anything after that. They couldn't score again to tie it up. And the Dolphins, they won. They won their first ever Super Bowl. And the only reason why I'm gonna give this a C is because of that one play. Super Bowl VIII, Vikings versus Dolphins. The Dolphins return and they're looking to win back-to-back Super Bowls. And the Vikings, they're back. They lost Super Bowl IV. They're looking for some redemption. And this time, it could be different because they have a different quarterback. They have Fran Tarkenton behind center this time instead of Joe Cap. And the Vikings, they stood no fucking chance. They lost 24-7. They got absolutely fucking demolished. And it was 24-0 at one point. And the last score of the game was the Vikings touchdown. The Dolphins pretty much just let them get that fucking touchdown. They felt bad for them. I know they fucking felt bad for them. I'm giving this one an F. Super Bowl IX, the Steelers are here in their first ever Super Bowl appearance, and the Vikings are back again. Woo! So fucking excited. So this game was close in the fourth quarter. It was 9-6 after a blocked punt, and the Steelers pretty much put it away with a Terry Bradshaw pass to Larry Brown to make it 16-6. That was the final score. Now, on paper, it looks like a great matchup, the Steel Curtain defense versus the Purple People Eaters, but it really wasn't that great of a game. Terry Bradshaw only had 14 pass attempts, and Fran Tarkenton, he had 3 interceptions, and the only score for the Vikings came from their fucking special teams. So it was okay, I guess. I'll give it a C minus. Super Bowl X, the Cowboys versus the Steelers. We have a really interesting matchup here now. The Cowboys, they had the lead at halftime, 10-7, but in the fourth quarter, the Steelers really ran away with it. They went up 21-10, but Roger Staubach, he drives downfield to make it 17-21. But at that point, there wasn't a lot of time, so they had to do the onside kick. The Steelers recovered it. They ran some clock down, and the Cowboys got the ball back with not a lot of time left. And Staubach pretty much threw an arm punt to end the game. But it was pretty interesting at the end. The Cowboys could have pulled off a miracle. So I'm going to give it a B minus. Super Bowl XI, the Raiders, they're looking to win their first ever Super Bowl, and the Vikings again. Oh my god. Just guess who fucking won this game. Just fucking guess. Oh, the Raiders. Oh, you're correct. They won 32-14. And if you said the Vikings were gonna win, I don't think you were paying attention during Super Bowl 4, 8, or 9. At one point, the Raiders were up 32-7, and this was after a pick six from Willie Brown. The Vikings would score after that to make it 32-14, but that pretty much just made the score look better, kind of similar to the end of Super Bowl VIII. This was not a good game. D. The 12th Super Bowl. The Cowboys, they're back representing the NFC. They're looking to win their second Lombardi, and they're taking on the Orange Crush defense of the Broncos. The Broncos, they were going to be the David, and they're going to have to take on Goliath, which, of course, is the fucking Cowboys. It was going to be a very tough game. The Broncos were definitely going to have to bring their A game to win, and they didn't. They had 8 turnovers in this game and 35 net passing yards. Craig Morton played like shit against his former team. It was absolutely awful. The Cowboys were way ahead of the Broncos on every fucking level. And yeah, it sucked. This game fucking sucked. I'm giving it a D. Super Bowl 13, which is a rematch of Super Bowl 10, Cowboys versus Steelers. And this game was actually pretty similar to Super Bowl 10, except there was higher scoring. In the first half, it was back and forth. It was close. But then the second half, the Steelers kind of started to run away with it. And at one point, it was 35-17. But the Cowboys scored to make it 35-24. And then they scored again with a few seconds left to make it 35-31. And then they didn't get the onside kick, so the Steelers won it 35-31. But one play that would have definitely changed it for the Cowboys was that Jackie Smith's pass. He was wide open in the end zone, and he dropped it, and the Cowboys had to settle for three. But it was a high scoring game. It was pretty good, pretty similar to Super Bowl X, and I'm gonna give it a B. The 14th Super Bowl, we have Rams versus the Steelers. The Steelers are back again, and they're looking to have another back-to-back season. And the Rams are just kind of happy to be here. They got here with a backup quarterback, and they're riding some momentum. And the Rams, they actually had the lead in this game going into the fourth quarter, 19-17. But in the fourth, the Steelers put it away. They got a couple of touchdowns, and they won it 31-19. It was a closer game than what the score actually was, and for that, I'm gonna give it a C plus. Super Bowl 15, the Raiders, they're back, and this time they're taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, who were actually favored to win this game, believe it or not. And yeah, the Eagles, let's just say it nicely, they didn't win. They didn't win. Now, let me be more harshly. They got fucking smoked by the fucking Raiders. At one point, the Raiders were up 24-3. Jim fucking Plunkett, he fucking torched the Eagles defense. He looked like fucking Tom Brady out there. It was incredible. D, giving it a D. 16, we have the 49ers in their first ever Super Bowl appearance, led by Joe Montana, taking on the Bengals, who are also in their first ever Super Bowl appearance, led by Ken Anderson. And at first, this looked like a pretty ugly game. The 49ers, they were up 20-0 at the half. But the Bengals, they started to storm back, and they made it 20-14. But the 49ers got a couple of field goals to make it 26-14. The Bengals scored again to make it 26-21, but at that point, there wasn't much time left. And that was the game. The Niners won 26-21. And it would be the first of many Super Bowls for the Niners. Spoiler alert. And yeah, the Bengals, they still haven't won. But that sucks. I'm going to give this one a... what should I give? I'm going to give it a B minus. Super Bowl 17, Miami versus Washington. Now, this Super Bowl took place during a weird season where the games were shortened to 9 games because of the strike. And we got 16 teams in the playoffs, but we got Miami and we got Washington. Washington had the MVP on their team, and the MVP was a kicker, fucking believe it or not. We're probably never going to see that shit again, but it looked like Miami was going to win it. They had most of the momentum, and they had the lead going into the second half. But in the fourth quarter, Washington got a couple of touchdowns to take the lead, 17-27. Miami couldn't do anything after that, and Washington won. They won the Super Bowl, but it has a fucking asterisk next to it because of the shortened season. This game was okay. I'm gonna give it a C. Super Bowl 18. Washington is back, and they're looking to win back-to-back Super Bowls. And the Raiders, this is their first Super Bowl as the Los Angeles Raiders. The previous ones were when they were the Oakland Raiders, so they want to bring a Lombardi back to LA. The Redskins, they were favored in this game. They were the better team, but as soon as the game started, the Raiders, it looked like it was going to be their day. They were doing good offensively and defensively, and Marcus Allen had one of the best games a running back has ever had in the Super Bowl, 191 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, and you can't forget about that iconic run that he had. It wasn't a good game. It was 38-9, but because of that run, I'm going to give it a D plus instead of an F. The 19th Super Bowl, the 49ers are back again looking to win their second Lombardi. And the Dolphins, they were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago with David Woodley. And this time, they have Dan fucking Marino. Yeah, we got Joe Montana versus Dan Marino. This should have been an all-time great Super Bowl, but it fucking wasn't. Joe Montana outdueled Dan Marino, and the defense for the fucking Dolphins did not show up at all. Joe Montana, he just fucking torched them. So, unfortunately, this should have been a great game, but the final score was 38-16, so it's going to be a fucking D. Super Bowl XX, aka Super Bowl 20, the Chicago Bears, my Chicago Bears, take on the New England Patriots. The Bears, they were 15-1, and they got here on the back of Walter Payton and that historic 85 Bears defense in the Pats. They were just kind of happy to be here. They weren't expected to get to the Super Bowl. They're happy to be here, but they definitely were not happy getting their asses kicked 46-10. It was fucking ugly. The Pats only had 7 rushing yards and they had 6 turnovers. It was not pretty at all. It was a pretty bad game. I'm giving it a D plus, and the only reason why I give it a D plus is because I'm a little bit biased, and I did enjoy watching this game because this might be the only time me witnessing the Bears ever winning a fucking Super Bowl. The 21st Super Bowl, the Giants, they're here in their first ever Super Bowl appearance, and they're taking on the Broncos, who got here on the back of John Elway. This was after his famous drive in the AFC Championship against the Browns. So the Broncos definitely had some momentum going into this game. And at first, the Broncos, they had a pretty good start to the game. They were up 10-7 going into the second quarter, but after that, it was all Giants. It was not pretty for the Broncos. They sucked. They really sucked. John Elway, I mean, he tried his best, but he could only do so fucking much. And Phil Simms, he went 22 for 25, 268 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. He definitely deserved the MVP in this game. Yeah, I'm going to give it a D. Super Bowl 22. Washington is back, and they're looking to win their second Lombardi with a backup quarterback in Doug Williams. And the Broncos are here again in back-to-back Super Bowls. They don't want to end up like the Vikings and lose back-to-back Super Bowls, or even more than that. That would be pretty fucking embarrassing. And, yeah, the Broncos lost 42-10, and 35 of the Redskins' points came in the second quarter. It was amazing, honestly. It was fucking impressive. Doug Williams finished with 340 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, and Timmy Smith, he had 204 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. The Broncos defense, they did not exist. They did not fucking exist at all. But because of that second quarter, I'm gonna have to give this game a C minus. That second quarter was really impressive by Doug Williams. Super Bowl 23, a rematch of Super Bowl 16, 49ers Bengals. The Bengals are back again. They somehow made it. Not with Ken Anderson this time, but with Boomer Esiason, and the 49ers, they're looking to win their third Super Bowl. And at first, it looked like the Bengals were going to win. They were in control most of the game. It was 16-13 Bengals with not a lot of time left in the game, but Joe Montana, he gathers the troops and he drives downfield to take the game from the Bengals. It was heartbreaking. And the Bengals, they should have won. They had a dropped interception off Joe Montana, which would have fucking sealed it, but the Niners win it. They win their third Super Bowl. And this was actually a pretty good game. I'm going to give it an A. Super Bowl 24, the Niners are back, and they want to win back-to-back Super Bowls, and the Broncos are just fucking here. They just got here somehow. I don't know. They found a way. They got John Elway, and they're facing a weak AFC, so they just got here. But the final score was 55-10. The Broncos didn't stand a fucking chance against the Niners. Joe Montana had 5 touchdown passes, and Jerry Rice had 148 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. This, by far, is probably the worst fucking Super Bowl. I'm giving this one an F. The Buffalo Bills make it to Super Bowl 25 on the back of that no-huddle offense and that great defense led by Bruce Smith, and they take on the underdog Giants, who got here with a backup quarterback in Jeff Hostetler. And I'm going to just say this, the Bills definitely should have won this fucking game. They lost 20-19. Obviously, the Scott Norwood field goal is pretty famous, and yeah, he should have fucking made that kick, but also the Bills, they barely got outpassed and outran by the Giants. And the Bills only had the ball for 19 minutes while the Giants had the ball for 40. That was definitely the biggest reason why the Bills lost this game. And it came down to the wire, so it was pretty entertaining. I'm going to give this game an A. Buffalo is back in Super Bowl 26 to get redemption for last year's Super Bowl, and Washington is back as well, this time with a different quarterback, not Joe Theismann or Doug Williams, but Mark Rypien. And The Washington Redskins definitely played a lot better than the Bills. The Bills did not look like themselves. They lost 37-24. That defense was pretty bad for them. Score of the game is actually closer than the game actually was. The Bills, they were down 37-10, and they got a couple of touchdowns to make the score more respectable. And it wasn't a good game. Definitely was not. It's going to be a D. Super Bowl 27, the Cowboys. It's been a while. They're back in the Super Bowl, and they're going to take on the fucking Bills. They're taking on the fucking Bills again. This kind of goes to show how weak the AFC was at this point. The Cowboys won it 52 50 fucking 2 to 17. It was not a good game. It was horrible. It was a fucking horrible way to end the season. The Bills had 9 turnovers. 9. It was ugly. Oh my god. The defense for Dallas did whatever the fuck they wanted, and the offense for Dallas did whatever the fuck they wanted. Troy Aikman had 4 touchdown passes, and I'm gonna give it a D plus instead of an F. And the only reason why I do that is because the Leon let goof in the game. That is so fucking iconic, and it's still funny. Super Bowl 28, we have a rematch of Super Bowl 27. Gotta be fucking kidding me. Cowboys and Bills again. Cowboys and Bills again. Okay, so the Cowboys, they're trying to win back-to-back Super Bowls, yada, yada, yada. And the Bills, they don't want to lose 4 straight Super Bowls because that would be really fucking embarrassing. And going into the second half, believe it or not, the Bills actually had the lead. They were up 13-6. But guess what the Bills did in the second half? You got that correct. They didn't do shit. They got outscored in the second half 24-0. And it all started with a Thurman Thomas fumble that got returned for a 48-yard touchdown. So the Bills, they obviously were not having a good day. And the Cowboys, they pretty much just, they fucking demolished them. So I'm giving this one a D. We have ourselves another ass whooping. 49ers versus Chargers in Super Bowl 29. This has really been the case for these early Super Bowls. Just very fucking ugly games. And you also have to consider that the AFC was pretty fucking weak at this point. But the game, the Niners, they were in control the entirety of the game. There wasn't a point where you thought the Chargers were going to come back and win this thing. Steve Young, Jerry Rice, they couldn't be fucking stopped. It was a bad game. It really was a bad game. I'm giving this one a D minus. Super Bowl 30, the Cowboys are back and they're looking to win their 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years. And the Steelers, it's been a while since they've been here, but they are back and they have a new coach. They have Bill Cowher at the helm. And this game was pretty bad at first. It looked like the Cowboys were going to steamroll the Steelers. They went up 20-7 going into the fourth quarter. But in the fourth quarter, the Steelers got a field goal and they got a touchdown to make it 20-17. And they got the ball back with a chance of taking the lead in the game. But Steelers legend Neil O'Donnell, he throws a horrible interception to Larry Brown, and that pretty much ended the fucking game. So it was entertaining, definitely in the fourth quarter. So for that, I'm giving it a B minus. The 31st Super Bowl, the Packers taking on the Patriots. The Packers, this is their first Super Bowl appearance since the 1960s. And the Patriots, this is their first appearance in Super Bowl 20, where they lost to the Bears, and it was not even fucking close. They got slaughtered. This time they have Drew Bledsoe. The Packers, this time they have Brett Favre. And going into the second quarter, the Patriots actually had a 14-10 lead. The second quarter, it was all Packers. And at the start of the third quarter, the Patriots scored to make it a one-score game to make it 21-27. But then Desmond Howard has a 99-yard kickoff return touchdown to make it 35-21, and that pretty much put the game out of reach for the Patriots. The fourth quarter didn't produce anything, and the Packers won their 3rd Super Bowl. So for that reason alone, I'm giving it a F, but I'm kidding. It's going to be a C. Super Bowl 32, the Packers, they're looking to win consecutive Super Bowls, and the Broncos, they are back after being a doormat in the Super Bowl during the 1980s. They want to win one before John Elway retires, and they got new uniforms as well. So they were a bit more desperate to win this game than the Packers were, and it was a pretty close game throughout, and it went down to the wire. The Packers, they were more effective throwing the ball. And for the Broncos, it was more rushing. Terrell Davis, he ended up with 3 touchdowns. But the Broncos, they won it 31-24. They won their first Super Bowl, and they were the first AFC team to win the Super Bowl since Super Bowl 18. So the NFC, they did have a bit of a streak there. It was a close game throughout. It was good. A minus. Super Bowl 33, the Broncos, they're back, and they want to win another one before John Elway retires. And the Falcons, they got very fucking lucky. They should have lost in the NFC Championship to the Vikings, but they found a way to win. Gary Anderson missed a field goal. And we should have got Broncos Vikings. That would have been way more entertaining because this game, it was it was all Broncos. It was not good. The Broncos, they dominated through the air. They cooked Eugene Robinson. That Falcons defense did not do good. It was bad. The final score ended up being 34-19. And John Elway, he got his second Super Bowl in the Falcons. It would be a little bit longer till they made it back to this point. And just wait till we talk about this game. But this game was a D. Super Bowl 34, the greatest show on turf, Rams with Kurt Warner versus the Tennessee Titans, led by Steve McNair. And this was the first season the Tennessee Titans even fucking were a thing before they were the Houston Oilers and the Tennessee Oilers. And at first, the Rams were completely dominating. Halfway through the third quarter, it was 16-0. But the Titans, and they scored again to make it 16-16. And with under 2 minutes left, Kurt Warner led the Rams downfield and they took the lead 23-16. And then the Titans, they started driving downfield and they looked like they really had a chance of scoring to tie the game up. And they came up 1 fucking yard short. That was heartbreaking. I'm sorry, Titans fans. I'm giving this one an A. It was a pretty good Super Bowl. Super Bowl 35. We have the New York Giants. I don't really know how they got here, and we have the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of people in Cleveland wanted them to lose this game so fucking badly, but the Ravens. They had Ray Lewis and they had that dominant 2000 Ravens defense, so it was definitely going to be tough for the Giants. And it was. The Ravens defense forced 5 turnovers on Kerry Collins in that Giants offense. It was very brutal. The only entertaining thing about this game for casual viewers, I guess, who weren't Ravens or Giants fans, was that the Giants, they had a kickoff return touchdown. Then right after that, the Ravens had a kickoff return touchdown. Probably the only time that'll ever happen in the fucking Super Bowl. But yeah, the final score was 34-7. It was not a good game. I'm giving it a D minus. Super Bowl 36. The Rams are back and they're looking to become the next NFL dynasty. And the Patriots are just kind of happy to be here. They got here on the back of a backup quarterback by the name of Tom Brady or something. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. But at first, the Pats had the lead 17-3 going into the fourth quarter. The greatest show on turf. They were playing like shit. Only putting up 3 points. Like, what the hell is up with that? But then they woke up in the fourth quarter. They got a couple of touchdowns to tie it at 17 with 1:30 left in the game. And John Madden famously said during the broadcast that the Pats should just knee the ball and play for overtime. It would definitely be a better world if the Pats did do that, but they didn't. They drove downfield with Tom Brady, and they got a field goal off to win it 17-20. And the Pats, they won their first Super Bowl. I don't really think they're going to win another one. This was probably a fluke. But good game, A minus. Super Bowl 37, we have the Buccaneers led by that awesome defense that they had. They had Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp. That defense was tough. And they're taking on the Raiders with MVP Rich Gannon. And John Gruden, he used to be the coach of the Raiders. He got traded to the Bucs. And now they're playing each other in the Super Bowl, which definitely probably wasn't even expected at the time. But hey, good storyline. And the Buccaneers, they completely fucking dominated. They had 5 interceptions off of Rich Gannon. 3 of them ended up being pick sixes, and 2 of those pick sixes happened like right at the end of the fucking game. So yeah, it wasn't a good game. It was pretty ugly. The Bucs completely dominated. They won it 48-21. I'm giving it a D. Super Bowl 38, we got the Patriots. They are back with Tom Brady. I guess the first one wasn't a fluke. And we got the Carolina Panthers, who are not even 10 years into their existence, and they made it to the Super Bowl. It was a very interesting game. In the first quarter, there was no scoring. In the third quarter, there was no scoring. All the scoring took place in the second and fourth quarters. It was those quarters were so fucking crazy because it was just back and forth. It just explosion of scoring. It was a really good game. It was tied 29-29 with a minute left to go in the game. John Casey, he kicks the ball out of bounds, fucking dumbass. They give the Pats good field position. And Adam Vinatieri, he kicks the game-winning field goal for the Pats again to win it 32-29. It was a really good game. I'm giving it an A. The 39th Super Bowl, the Pats are back. They want to win their third Super Bowl in 4 years. And the Eagles, they got here with Donovan McNabb and Andy Reid as their head coach. And it looked like it was going to be a pretty good game. But the fourth quarter comes around, and the Pats, they take a 24-14 lead. The Eagles score again to make it 24-21, and they get the ball back with a few seconds left. But McNabb throws an interception, and that pretty much ends the fucking game. The Eagles, they actually outgained them and outthrew the Pats, but they had 4 turnovers, and those turnovers definitely proved costly for the Eagles. And also, Terrell Owens, he really wasn't even healthy for this game, but he played anyway. But I think if we get a 100% healthy Terrell Owens in this game, it's a little bit closer. I'm gonna give this one B minus. B minus. Super Bowl 40, Steelers versus Seahawks. The Seahawks make their first ever Super Bowl appearance, and the Steelers, this is their first appearance in Super Bowl 30, where they lost to the Cowboys, and Neil O'Donnell cost them the game. And this game was close at points, but the game is not known for that. It's best known for being controversial because the referees did make some questionable calls that did favor the Steelers. The best play of this game was by far Hines Ward throwing a touchdown pass to Antoine or Randall L to have the Steelers take the lead 21-10, and they did win it 21-10. The referee thing does bug me a bit though, so I'm giving it a C minus. Super Bowl 41, the Colts make it here for the first time with Peyton Manning, and we have the Chicago Bears who somehow got here mainly because of that defense. But this game was a little bit better than what people remember. Yeah, we do have the Devin Hester kickoff return touchdown, but going into the fourth quarter, it was a one-possession game. It was 22-17, and the Bears had the chance to take the lead, but, Rex Grossman, he throws a terrible ball, he gets picked off, and it ends up being a pick six, and the Colts win it 29-17. The Bears, they had a better shot of winning it than what people remember. I think they probably should have won this game, but they had 3 fumbles. It was a sloppy game all around. It was raining, and it was okay. It was an okay game. I'm giving it a C. Super Bowl 42. The undefeated New England Patriots are looking to make history at 19-0 if they win this game, and the underdog New York Giants, who got here with Eli Manning. This game was probably the greatest Super Bowl ever. The Pats, they took the lead 14-10 with 2 minutes left in the game, and Eli Manning and the offense to go out on the field, and it looked like the Pats were going to stop them, but the most incredible play ever happened, the helmet catch. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, fucking look that shit up. That is one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. But that gives the Giants momentum to go downfield and score a touchdown and take the lead 17-14. And they stop Tom Brady and the Patriots from scoring again. And the Giants win their 3rd Super Bowl. And the Pats, they did not make history. An A+. Super Bowl 43, the Steelers are back, and they're looking to win their 6th Lombardi trophy. And the Arizona Cardinals, they were just kind of happy to be here. They got here on the backs of Larry Fitzgerald and Kurt Warner. And at first, going into the fourth quarter, the Steelers were up 20-7. It looked like the game was out of reach. But the Cardinals started to storm back. They scored again to make it 20-23 off a 64-yard Larry Fitzgerald touchdown. But the Steelers, Roethlisberger, he gathers the troops together. They go downfield, and we get that iconic Santonio Holmes touchdown at the back of the end zone for the Steelers to win it 27-23. It was heartbreaking for the Cardinals, but this was probably one of the greatest fourth quarters in Super Bowl history. So for that, I'm giving it an A. Super Bowl 44, the Colts are back and they're looking to win their second Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. And the Saints make their first ever Super Bowl appearance with Drew Brees and Sean Payton leading them there. But the Colts, they held the lead for most of this game, but the fourth quarter comes around and the Saints, they regain the lead 24-17, but Peyton Manning, he drives the Colts down the field and it looks like he's going to score, but Tracy Porter, he gets a pick six to make it 31-17, and that sealed the win for the Saints. They won their first ever Super Bowl. And the Colts, yeah, that was a pretty tough loss. It was a good game, though. I'm giving this one a B. The 45th Super Bowl, the Steelers are back, and they're looking to win their 7th Lombardi. And we got the Packers making it here for the first time with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. And it was all Packers at first going into the second half. The Packers were up 10-21, but the Steelers were able to make it close, and with 2 minutes left in the game, it was 25-31. The Steelers had the chance to take the lead, but they couldn't do anything with that, and the Packers won their 4th Super Bowl, and Aaron Rodgers won one. Woo! I'm so happy about that. But the game really wasn't all that great. I'm giving it a C+. Super Bowl 46, we got a rematch of Super Bowl 42, and you know what they say, the second is usually not as good as the original, and that was kind of the case in this game. It was still pretty good, but it just wasn't as good as Super Bowl 42. It was close throughout. The Pats had the lead in the fourth quarter. They had the 17-15 lead, and Eli Manning, who threw an incredible ball to Manningham, and then they had the touchdown with 57 seconds left to take the 21-17 lead. The Pats, they were so close to getting the Hail Mary to win it, but they couldn't get it. And yeah, the Giants won their second Super Bowl with Eli Manning. That is fucking crazy that even happened. But I'm giving this one a B. Super Bowl 47, Ravens versus 49ers, the Harbaugh Bowl. We had Jim Harbaugh versus John Harbaugh, both brothers playing against each other in the Super Bowl. Well, not playing against each other, I guess coaching against each other. And the Ravens, they had the edge at first. They were up 28-6, and it looked like it was going to be a blowout, but then the blackout happens, and the 49ers, they get some momentum after that. They come back to life, and they made it really close. It was a 2-point game at some point, but the Ravens, they get the field goal to make it a 5-point game. The 49ers go downfield, but they cannot get the touchdown, and that ends the game. I'm giving this one a B. It was pretty good. Super Bowl 48, we have the Seattle Seahawks, the number one defense in the league, taking on Peyton Manning in the Denver Broncos, the number one offense in the league. And going into this game, there was definitely a lot of hype, and that pretty much died on the first fucking play. The Seattle Seahawks, they dominated. They completely dominated. They shit all over Denver. It was bad. It was pretty fucking bad. Denver had 4 turnovers, and they only scored 8 fucking points. The final score was 43-8. This was not a good Super Bowl. This one is an F. Super Bowl 49, the Seahawks are back, and they're looking to win back-to-back Super Bowls, and the Pats are back here again, and it's been 10 years at this point since they've won another Super Bowl, so they gotta win one. This game was back and forth, but going into the fourth quarter, the Seahawks had the 24-14 lead, but Brady, he gets back-to-back touchdown drives to make it 28-24. The Seahawks, they get the ball back. Russell Wilson, he throws the ball downfield, and it's somehow fucking caught by Curse, and they get Marshawn Lynch the ball. They get down to the 1. They should have gave it to him again, but they decide to pass. It gets intercepted by Malcolm Butler, and the Pats, they win another Super Bowl. I'm giving this one an A+. Super Bowl 50, the Broncos are looking to get some redemption for whatever the fuck Super Bowl 48 was, and they're going to have to take on the Carolina Panthers led by Cam Newton and that incredible defense. And this was not really a good game. I mean, it was close at some points in the first half, but yeah, the Broncos, they were just the better team, and the game was really put away after the Von Miller strip sack on Cam Newton that led to another Broncos touchdown. It could have been a better game, but you know what? The Broncos won, so whatever. C minus. Super Bowl 51, the Patriots are back. Look at that. And we got a new foe. We got the Atlanta Falcons, who got here on the back of that dynamic offense with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. And at first, the Falcons were loving this game because they went up 28-3. Yep, 28-3. And in the fourth quarter, the Patriots, they just got life. They fucking found a way to get back. They had 25 unanswered, 19 of it in the fourth quarter, and they tied it at 28 and went in overtime. They won the toss, and they won the game at 34-28. It birthed one of the greatest football memes of all time, 28-3. This game is an A+. This is a fucking classic. Super Bowl 52. The Pats are back, and they're looking to win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years again. And we have the underdog Philadelphia Eagles, who got here with a backup quarterback in Nick Foles. This was a really good game. It was high scoring, no defense whatsoever. The Eagles defense really didn't show up until the end of the game, where they made a good stop on the Pats and they actually forced Brady to fumble the ball. But yeah, really good game, lots of scoring. It was a good storyline as well. Nick Foles won the MVP. I'm giving this one an A. It was a really good game, but not as good as Super Bowl 51 with the Falcons. The 53rd Super Bowl, the Pats are back again, and this time they're taking on the LA Rams. And I'm just going to just be fucking straight up. This game fucking sucked. This game was not good. It was very low scoring. The total amount of points was 16. The final score was 13-3. The Pats won, but it didn't really feel like they deserved the win. I mean, the defense did a really good job. I will say that they did a good job stopping the Rams offense, but I mean, like, this just wasn't fucking exciting. This game just fucking sucked. I'm giving this one a D minus. Super Bowl 54, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, who are here for the first time since Super Bowl 4, and they have Patrick Mahomes on their team, so I wonder how that's going to go. And we got the San Francisco 49ers, who got here on the back of a good defense, and Jimmy G and George Kittle. That was a pretty good combo for like a season. And it was pretty close. It was tied at halftime, but in the third quarter, the 49ers took a 20-10 lead. And in the fourth quarter, it was all Chiefs. Mahomes got the troops together, and they took a 24-20 lead. The Niners had chances to regain the lead, but they couldn't do it. And the game ended with a Damian Williams 38-yard rush to make it 31-20 and for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. It was a good game. It could have been a little bit better, though. It could have been better down to the wire, so I'm giving it a B minus. Super Bowl 55. This was a bit of an odd one because it took place during the COVID year, but hey, it's still the fucking Super Bowl. We got the Chiefs, who are looking to win back-to-back Super Bowls with Mahomes, and we got the Buccaneers making their first appearance since Super Bowl 37, and things are a little bit different because they have Tom fucking Brady on their team. And it looked like it was going to be a good game at first, but the Bucs, they fucking ran away with it. The Chiefs' offensive line could not stop the Bucs' pass rush, and Tom Brady, he just pretty much just played football. He really didn't do anything spectacular to like get them the win. He just kind of like checked the ball down the whole time, and it worked. So D. This game was a D. It really wasn't that great. Super Bowl 56, we have the Rams trying to get some redemption and score more than 3 points in the Super Bowl. And we have the Cincinnati Bengals, who got on a bit of a miraculous run to get to this point. At the half, it was 13-10. The Rams were dominating most of the first half. And at the start of the third quarter, the Bengals scored back-to-back to make it 13-20. And the Bengals, they just needed to score again, and it seemed like they were going to win. But the Rams, they kept it close, and Cooper Kupp got a touchdown with under 2 minutes left in the game to make it 23-20. The Bengals couldn't do anything on their last drive, and the Rams won the Super Bowl 23-20. This game still pisses me off to this day because I bet $100 on the Bengals to win with my friend, and I still fucking regret it. Super Bowl 57. We have Mahomes versus Hurts. The Chiefs are looking to win another Super Bowl, and we got the Eagles, who are not underdogs this time like in Super Bowl 52, but they are the best team in the league, and they are actually favored to win this game. Mahomes and Hurts, this was a great battle. It was back and forth, it was high scoring, and the ending of the game ruined the Super Bowl a little bit because it was kind of a bullshit call, and the Chiefs pretty much got the free win with the field goal at the end. But hey, it was still a great game, so I'm giving it an A minus. And now the most recent Super Bowl, Super Bowl 58. I'm going to try and make this one short and sweet because this game is still fresh in everyone's mind. But quick recap, the Chiefs, they won it again. They're back-to-back Super Bowl champions, the first time since the Pats did it in 03 and 04. It was a close game throughout. The Niners, they were in control most of the first half. They kind of stalled in the second half a little bit, especially in the third quarter. The Chiefs, they send it to overtime, and the Chiefs, they go downfield. Mahomes throws the game-winning touchdown, and Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. It was a good game, so I'm giving it an A. Oh, okay, and I am done. I'm done grading every single one. It took a long time to make this video, so I hope you guys liked it. I know it was a long one. It was fucking almost 50 minutes, but hey, if you like this video, please like, and if you want to see more content like this, subscribe. And yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I had fun making this video, and there's more on the way, trust me. And yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.